Recording in progress.
Mine before the reorg by family.
Oh, will you pull out mine and see how many? It would have been from the 20,
St. Clair
2020.
The word that needs the most is forward. And it's like, the one nobody.
I know.
So it's like, wait, they vote, but they don't want to run. Like, that's wild.
27,
2025.
so mine is.
St. Clair County Abstract of Fallon Work.
How we doing, Mr. Salty?
Doing good, doing good. How's everybody
Hi.
tonight?
Hi.
Hi.
Mr. Roy.
Not yet, but I mean, I'm sorry.
I've been trying to reach out to that Keithley or whatever.
My grandpa was a Shriner.
Mine too.
He was Masons and Scottish Rite
Messages
Shriner, which I didn't know what that meant at the time.
No response?
the company name or.
Yeah,
I don't know.
my great grandpa, my grandpa was.
If you would, cause
Okay.
I just kind of
They
want to
got
reach out
one
to
that
that.
asked you Scottish.
Is there a, you know what that is? Shriners?
Uh,
Like somewhere-
yes.
I'm from Brador, is that for the moment?
That would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roy, what's the female Shriner thing?
Female shrine.
Well, it's not,
Oh, okay.
Eastern Star.
That,
There's
that
that.
daughter's, no, I know what we're doing.
I just knew Eastern Star. My mom got, well, my mom and grandma were in that. But they,
I was trying to search and I like.
I was better, but I got over it.
Roy.
So what else going on in the world of high finance?
I am gonna be up there Wednesday night instead of Thursday night. So
I know Blackbird's on the same flight back.
I'm
When you
driving.
guys coming up?
I'm gonna leave Wednesday after work, so I won't get up there till late.
You're gonna take the train?
I'm taking a train.
Train.
I'm not going.
Mary would kill you. We would be going to Shilton.
She would, I mean, you said, I'm gonna check, once I put that newsletter out.
I read that. I was like, that's so bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, easy on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Percentage of.
The train is only up to 5.
Position or
Get up there
balance
around
cash.
10.
I mean,
When are you going up there?
I bit the bullet, so you know what?
If I see mine, I would
Doing it? Sorry, what? Nah,
roll up and then I can tell you. Or roll down, I guess.
I'm gonna tell you now.
So, percentage.
I gave you plenty of time to let me know.
So whatever she signed up for,
See, what do you do? What do you do? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I bet you guys are already on Thursday, and then
407.
Friday, I think
Is
it's
it
TWM,
between 6 and
Holland,
8?
FGMA,
Five
and
to
doing
Happy
a
hour.
and then dinner. Now, I'm leaving Saturday morning.
What was my, the
I'll
number
leave
of how
Saturday
many
at lunch.
ballots cast?
Dude.
Was
Yeah.
1,038.
Saturday.
But the total
no, it's, I'll
November
miss like the
either
post
Lori or
party or
Mark is
whatever.
407. So if you only need 50, it's good.
Yep.
Through
Well,
Zoom?
yeah, it's 5% of 1,038.
I'm sharing.
52.
So it's a larger number.
Looking at the lineup, it looks like
You need
Jeff
time.
should
Okay,
go
I'll let her know.
582.
3 or 4 sessions on public works.
13
Yeah,
thirty.
some things.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I would say first, I'm waiting for the app to update.
I usually try to
Mm.
go the ones I'm interested in,
I
but
need to
also the
get
ones
to
that I
it.
don't feel like I know a lot about, but also know the ones that not everybody's going to.
I thought the first day where it's all attorneys, that session was that whole day was way better than
The couple I went to last year, 'cause
Yeah.
we went up early and we could go,
Yeah.
those were
I learned
really
more
good.
about-
Yes.
Yes.
The attorney of Chicago's like internal investigations that talked about policing, and basically her message that I was picking up was, don't have policies for your officers not to do things, because then if they do it, then you're liable. And I'm like, whoa, 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 like, that's a terrible idea.
Ugh.
Yeah, give them no rules.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think we enjoyed that day more
Just in
because
case.
people were.
Yeah.
Did
I
we
agree.
pay for that
I agree.
speed limit, sign on Lincoln?
I'm sure they pay for all.
I remember, never mind, I remember that email.
Test, test.
You, I feel so good about myself. And our city. All of
Honestly,
it, all of it.
what proof glass options do you all have on your dais? I'm like, whoa, but that's a reality in some of the larger communities.
I'm like, we have me, so that should really scare you.
Well, did you guys, I think you got like all the comments on the police post about the blockers?
Yeah, I commented.
I was reading, I was like, we're really, I mean, safe, it was safe. It was,
Same typical squeaky wheels, one of,
I was like, I would buy those anything.
They weren't happy about it?
where'd that money come from?
The waste tax money.
Those barriers.
Oh, I seen that, I thought that, yeah.
I would buy it again and again.
I think in my post, I said something, and I'm paraphrasing. Thanks OPD for looking out for our residents, even the ones who complain.
These will be-
And it got
put
like
you with the
20
other ones,
something,
what they're doing?
like, within an hour or something.
I still haven't got a hold of that.
I might have had a couple of cocktails and got a little snarky.
I texted them. They've changed offices. They're still.
It's been better to have.
It's better on the proactive.
Okay.
The way I look at it.
And then one guy said, our cops are, he said, to put that beforehand, they're here to catch the bad guys, and I'm like, ah, shit.
Dennis, that was better.
You just in the hearing aid mode? Like,
Quiet, Mike, loud.
No.
No.
That was.
Oh, yeah. Then what?
Oh, also, I don't need the change.
You going to sign off?
Yes.
You going, Dennis?
I guess there's still a chance that
Yeah, she's gonna come tomorrow afternoon.
I booked it all.
If we see you stumbling somewhere where you never made it.
I was saying, cause yeah, cause what, your chances start changing. I'd have to stay up, like, I don't think I could go to bed
You're talking about coming
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, I'll get up there about 10:40.
11 o'clock, Wednesday night.
See, the train put me to sleep, so I would sleep all the way up there, so by the time I get there at 10, I would be like wide awake all night. I'm a night person, like, I'm not.
7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm ready for bed now.
Yeah.
I get up at 3:30.
Oh, I'll still get up at like 5.
That's just the way I am.
You're young. It won't always be that way.
I don't
can we rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so thanks everybody for coming. This is the Finance and Administration meeting, and you'll have a chance to speak with the public and during our topics as we go. But first off, Sandy, can we get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Nathan Parchman.
Here.
Jessica Lott.
Here.
Jim Blackburn.
Here.
Jim Campbell.
Here.
Todd Roach. Okay, we have a quorum.
All right, missing one. All right, then we just need an approval of the minutes from the July 27th, 2026. If I can get a motion in a second.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Can I get I guess it's all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passed. All right, we're moving on to items requiring council action. So 2.1, resolution to approve capital asset policy. Sandy?
Thank you. So I attached the capital asset policy. This is something that needed to be updated. Our last official policy was from September of 2003. And as things have changed, we felt it was appropriate for us to take a look at our capital asset policy. Keep in mind, a capital asset policy is different than a purchasing approval policy, right? So a capital asset policy deals more with the accounting side of it, the useful life, the depreciation. And so this is something that we do internally. This is a more robust policy than what we had in the past. And basically, with the cost of things changing, we looked at where we were previously with our valuation cost and our useful life. So we made it a little more easier to look at as far as our assets goes. Our machinery, equipment, and vehicles, we are making it $20,000 per unit. In the past, we had vehicles separate at 15 and then equipment at 25. So we combined those. The other ones we kind of combined were buildings, building improvements, land improvements, and infrastructure. Those used to be at 50,000. We now increased that to 75. We added software and intangible assets at 25,000. And as always, land is always capitalized. But basically what this will do, and it is all straight line depreciation, and it provides our accounting department an opportunity to put these on the books. It is not something that, there's as far as a best practice, speaking with their auditors, this is something internal. We set the kind of the amounts and the useful life based on GFOA, best practices, and other agencies around. This is about where everything stands. It's nothing that really will affect, the bottom line other than our depreciation amount. It just increases that capital asset thing. I did add on this policy that it will be reviewed every 5 years, so we don't get into the since 2003. We just want to try to keep everything current. So as I said, it doesn't go in line. In a way, it goes with our purchasing. Next month, we're reviewing our purchasing policy, and so that approval policy is going to be a little different than what our asset is. But I did include the 2003 copy of the fixed asset list, and then this is the new policy. And so it does require a resolution. So I'm requesting a motion to approve the new capital asset policy.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Anybody on the committee have a question or concern? Council? Nope, sorry.
On your review cycle, how is that tracked?
How is
the review cycle?
5-year?
Yeah. Who tracks that?
So we will in our finance department,
Okay,
because
so-
this policy will come out of the finance
Okay.
department.
So the point of contact for it will be
Correct,
who? Okay, good.
correct.
Sorry, skipped right over you, Jim. Anybody else? Council? Public? All right. And we talked about a few things here and just updating things. There's been inflation, things change, so we're making sure we've got everything up to date and in line. So like she said, we'll bring in the purchase policy next meeting next month. So, all right. With that, can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Blackburn?
Yes.
Lott?
Yes.
Parchman?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Okay, that'll move on to the council meeting our council meeting at the beginning of September.
All right. Well, I've X'd out of it, so that's awesome. Try this again. I'll just share from Jessica. So moving on to 2.2, we need a motion to approve budget to actual report for 6/30/2026. Sandy?
Yes, so this again, this is one that we do quarterly. It reflects the budget to actual report for the period of May 1st through June 30th, 2026. This is the same report that we've been approving quarterly based on an audit that IDHS had recommended that it comes through council. So now we're just presenting the budget to actual on a quarterly basis for review. Again, this represents only 2 months into it. So there's still a lot of a lot of variances because a lot of things may not have occurred yet.
Any questions from the committee? Council? Public? All right, if not, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Campbell?
Yes.
Lott?
Yes.
Parchman?
Yes.
And Blackburn?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and all the items for approval are taken care of, but we'll be moving to 3.1 city clerk and city treasurer positions. I believe, Grant, you were going to take that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Parchman. So this is a preliminary discussion, and this began recently with Mayor Van Hook reaching out to council members, asking their opinions and their preference if they wanted to have a discussion about potential of not retaining the clerk and treasurer position at the end of the current term of Mr. Mauser and Mr. Hersey. And so this is the first step in that. There is a pretty substantial report in the agenda packet. We put a presentation tonight together that summarizes a lot of it. It's not going to be all inclusive, everything that's in the report, so I encourage you, if you're interested in this item, to read through that. But to summarize it, the question before this committee and the council as we move forward in this preliminary discussion is, should the city place a binding referendum on the April 6, 2027 election ballot concerning the future of those two elected positions, the city clerk and the city treasurer? The concept under consideration is to eliminate the two elected officials following the expiration of their terms in 2029. So it would not affect the individuals that are in the terms. I just wanted everybody to know this is a government structure question. It's not a performance review of Mr. Mauser and Mr. Hersey. I think both of them have served a lot of time in the city of Wolf Allen and have given back a lot. But with Illinois state law, changing the substantial form of officers within a city requires a referendum through the voters. This is not something, even as a home rule community, the council can do without approval from the voters. So as we move forward, it would require that referendum be placed on a ballot for next spring or whenever the council chooses. And then depending on that decision or those results, if they are to retain the positions, then nothing changes. If the choice is made by the voters to eliminate them, we would have 2 years to the end of that term in 2029 to then go back at our ordinances and change and clean up anything that has statutory responsibilities for those positions and relay those to administrative side. So again, it's the public functions as they are will continue under either structure. And the council would decide only whether to move the referendum ordinance to a vote, and then waiting on that decision, then do some work in the next 2 years as we end that term. So next slide, please. So what would change and what would not under this potential structure change? So the essential city functions would continue regarding recording the meeting minutes, records, affixing the seal, attestations, licensing, elections, FOIAs, publications, receipt and distribution of funds, accounting, reporting, and investments. If the voters approve this, and if the council puts it on a referendum, what would need to change in that next 2 years is changing some of the statutory office authority that have to be reassigned to designated members of the administrative staff or the finance department. Implementing that ordinance would update the city code as we move forward. And then finally, there is provision on the investment committee that talks about the composition of that committee. And so we'd have to address that after a vote. A quick time lapse. So 1905 is when City of O'Fallon became a city. And so from that point, the clerk and treasurer's positions were codified in our structure. Many years later, in 1993, the quarterly treasurer reporting requirement was updated in our Code of Ordinances. Furthermore, in 97, the city's first professional finance director was hired, and it was put into our Code of Ordinances with those responsibilities and authority. Again, in 03, that was changed to expand those responsibilities to what mostly the structure is today. And finally, in 2018, we created an investment policy, and it named the finance director as the investment officer. There is that committee I discussed earlier that does have the city administrator, the mayor, the finance director, the treasurer, and the chair of the finance committee comprises that group. So the key theme of this is the gradual transition towards professional administration while underlying elective office structure remained. And as we go a little bit later into the presentation, you'll see that over time, how complex it is to run these duties. Nobody in 1905 or prior to that ever knew what a FOIA was or what that meant, or GASB accounting, or all the statements we have to put together. And so it's become much more complex, and it requires full-time staff here to do that day in and day out. Specifically with the clerk's office and the clerk position. So under the state and city code, the clerk has the authority to record official minutes and proceedings. Affixes the seal and official records. They attest to the mayor's signature and my signature. Those are all things that the deputy city clerk can also do under our code and does do today. And so that current practice looks more of the functions as imagined in 1905 are performed by the full-time staff member, Misty McDonald, who's our deputy city clerk. And so all the recordings, the records, the agendas, the minutes, the FOIAs, everything that gets filed is done by Misty, who is in a professional capacity and again is here full-time. If this measure is approved, go one back up. If it is approved by the voters and the council, we would have to go back into the code and assign some of those custody and attestation language solely on that administrative staff member. Designate an election official as legally appropriate. Right now, as many of you who ran for office and who have been around, when you come and pick up your packets or submit them, Misty is present. Jerry is also here. The code refers to the city clerk as the election official. Again, with appeals and such, we'll have to work through some of that stuff in the 2 years after this vote, if that's the way we go, and then continue to work some of that operational stuff administratively. Moving on to the treasurer's position. So the city code already places many of that operational financial responsibilities envisioned in 1905 and many years past that. With our changes we've made over the last 3 or 4 decades into the finance director's position and the finance department. And so under our code, the finance director assigns receipts of city monies. They receive city funds. The finance director pays authorized warrants and bills. The finance department maintains the accounting system. The professional administrative functions with the budget officer, payroll, purchasing are done. Payroll's done by human resources. Purchasing is done through our purchasing manual and departments. And again, the finance director is designated as the investment officer. So the operational change as we move forward, if this is the way the council and the voters wish to go, would likely be limited. The legal authority, reporting obligations, and investment committee composition would need some implementation. As I said, the treasurer is a member of that committee. So the legal path and voter approval, so because we are a home rule municipality, it doesn't matter when you're changing the officer structure. It still has to go to a vote and a referendum to the public. So this committee and the city council, as we move forward in short order, give some direction. Is this something the council and committee does want to move forward with? The next step is the council and the city attorney would present some language on what those referendums would look for or look like for your review. Looking at the calendar, those questions do have to be submitted to the St. Clair County Clerk's Office by late January. When you're back into our city council meetings, that would be the council meeting right after Martin Luther King Day in January. But again, there's nothing to say that it can't come sooner. That is just the final drop dead date. The voter decision would be on April 6th, and then again, we would have 2 years until the end of that term to make that transition. That final referendum language would be presented with consultation from our attorneys. Everybody would look at it, the public would get a chance to look at it, and the council would have to adopt a resolution or ordinance to put that on a ballot. So again, as we move forward, the considerations for policy that we need to discuss are the complexity of what the clerk, or deputy city clerk, treasurer, finance director, and finance office does today in comparison to many years ago. Our financial records, our FOIAs, IT, elections, compliance have become so technical, and I think I've shared with the council and the public the time requirements simply on things such as FOIA, and where we have almost 4 full-time employees today working on nothing but FOIAs. And so these are things that have changed over time and became administrative functions. The continuity of moving it towards a appointed or professional staff would be then, and we've been very blessed to not have a lot of turnover here, but if you're getting turnover in these positions every 4 years, again, you don't know who's going to get elected to them, and they may have no financial background or not know what a FOIA is. So those are some challenges that many cities experience. Of course, with our professional staff, we can put qualifications in place, whether it's experience based on years, degrees, CPAs. Misty McDonald's a master's municipal clerk, and so those things are rare, but they show their dedication to the field and the expertise that comes with them. Again, accountability. When you're here full-time, you're a little bit more accountable, you can be seen. At the end of the day, the staff is accountable to me as a city administrator, and I am accountable to the council and the mayor. And the council and the mayor, as you guys know, are accountable to the elected body or to the residents. So that helps with a lot of the supervision. And again, so it's some duplication of some roles that have happened over time, where you see it in statute, state statute, and city ordinance is really performed by a full-time employee. And finally, of course, we have to talk about the tradition. We're looking at changing something that's existed for over 120 years. So as that moves forward, you see the city has grown many times over since 1905. And so, working on a system that may be a little different than what many have known for a long time. So in the report, staff is recommending if the council wishes to move forward with placing these referendums, there be 2 questions, one for the city clerk's position and one for the city treasurer's position, because there may be people who want to vote separately or differently on the 2. So we find it a good idea to put them separate and let the voters vote on each one indistinctively. Again, that would need to be approved by the council, move to the April 6th election, and then the possible transition after terms expire in 2029. So that leads us to where we're at tonight. So staff is seeking policy direction from the council and the committee. Not final approval of the ballot language. Obviously, I'm not putting ballot language in front of you today, so we're not asking that. But this is something at this point, does the council and committee wish to proceed with this? And if so, staff will work with the city attorney to come up with that referendum language to have you guys discuss it and move towards a final one that you want to place on there. Again, should they be separate like staff is recommending, or does the council want them to be together? We will work and present what administrative structures will be changed and drafted, make sure those legal duties would be administrated appropriately. Again, with 2 years after a vote, there's a lot of time to have those discussions.
And then what information does the city council want to be included to the residents? So as a staff member and as a City of O'Fallon official member, staff cannot advocate, and we will not advocate for one way or another. It is our job to present the committee and the council and the body or the public with the facts. That is what we will do. We will not advocate one way or another. As individual council members, it is your free political right to advocate however you wish. Same thing with any member of the public. So we hope that it doesn't come off as we are ambivalent to it, but we are here to present you with the facts and to answer your questions.
All right, thanks, Grant. Is there any questions from the committee? Feel free to chime in, or Jessica?
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank the staff for putting together the historical context of it, because it's changed a lot, clearly, from what was needed, over 100 years ago. And so just being able to look at the totality and not just, as it exists today, but kind of how we got to where we are, I think it really helps people understand, like, it's an option.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, is it an option that residents want us to pursue or not? So.
Are we looking for a straw poll here, kind of?
Yeah, after some discussion, if we have questions, and
Okay.
then
Got it.
some type of direction. The intention from staff would be, from what we've heard from the mayor and council members, that most members wish to see this be discussed and move forward. And so our initial direction is to present draft referendum language at a future committee meeting. So really the direction I'm looking at tonight is that, are we off base? Is that something you don't want to do?
You have anything?
I think the argument stands us in pretty good stead that things have become so complex that somebody coming in fresh, regardless of their background, is going to have a pretty steep learning curve. And we'll have to rely on staff anyway to make sure the right things happen in a timely fashion. So I don't think we're off base at all in looking to redesign and streamline the city staff.
Thanks, Jim.
Grant, so Sandy's position, sorry, Sandy, but also, I'm sorry, Misty, thank you. They can be disciplined, terminated by the city administrator, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm in favor of it. I just feel like if it's your full-time position, you can give it the focus and attention that it deserves. You can ensure as a city administrator somebody's qualified in there. I asked you, I think before this meeting, just if there was any sorts of checks and balances where if we had someone that was dishonest or incompetent or anyone in the position that we would eliminate some sort of checks that would hold us accountable. And we already have, multiple layers of those in place. So
And we'll
fully
go,
support.
in next month's meeting, actually, we'll talk about the purchasing manual, but that calls out a lot of the ability to purchase from staff. You'll see multiple checks and balances, the annual audit. There's nobody that looks at receipts harder than Sandy Evans.
No.
And so, and again, Misty is a master municipal clerk. She's on the board of directors. She's the lead for Southern Illinois. So you've got great expertise, but we also plan ahead, right? We have to all assume that one day we will not be here. I'll retire, Sandy will retire, Misty will retire, and ride off into the sunset, happy. It's about the next person right up and having those qualifications in there. So CPA, clerk experience, those are things that are important, and you're able to select somebody professional that has that expertise.
So real quick, jumping ahead to, it's the HR report, but I believe we're doing a new compensation review with CBIZ. Would we or could we, and I think we should, price what those positions should be paid if this referendum was passed? So for Sandy's position and Missy's position, I would hope to see some sort of monetary increase if the comp data shows it should be that. So is that going to be part of that, or?
So we are doing a compensation study, and it includes the job descriptions.
But are they going to have the context that this is going to possibly happen down the road, and should we proactively look at this now versus reactionary later?
There's been initial discussions with them on that. Of course, I've notified them that this is a public choice. This is not our choice as staff members. to be honest with you, a lot of the things they do already today will not change. And so that could weigh into the factor, but I don't want to be misleading and say this is a measure of cost savings. There's nothing to say that if GASB puts out 50 new mandates that Sandy learns about, or if we continue on this path where we have almost 1,000 FOIAs and it's August, there's additional staff resources and support that we will need. So this is not a cost savings measure. This is more of a structural change. So I understand your question about the compensation study, and certainly something we'll look at.
Yeah, I'm curious more of the legality is what's shifting from the elected position to the administrative burden, and I think they should be compensated for that if that's the case, but I know you'll be on it.
I'm sure Sandy will agree to that.
I wrote that down.
So I'll just throw my 2 cents in. From the discussions getting ready for the agenda, Jerry and David have done a great job. This is nothing to do against them. It's just the position and the requirements that have shifted from what could be done as a part-time employee to what needs to be done as a full-time employee now has just over the years, it's like this needs to go there, that needs to go there. So like Grant was referencing to, some of those jobs have already been transferred over. So a lot of this is kind of been happening over the years, and this is a thought to put just kind of as those jobs positions move, maybe move everything to permanent full-time employees. So in my opinion, if you're looking for a straw poll or whatever, I think it's a great decision, and these gentlemen have done a great job and in the past too, but it's just, I think it does make sense to do this. So I think we should definitely put it on the ballot and look out. So anybody else on the committee have a comment before I take it out to the crowd? Council? Any comments? Roy?
Thank you. I believe we should put this out for the vote, and then we have 2 years if they decide they want to do away with these two positions, then we do have time to go back and reflect what we want these new positions or new spots, how we want them labeled, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, after the voter referendum, it will be effective 2029. So essentially, we'll have 2 years, and there's not going to be sweeping changes. A lot of the ordinances have been updated over the years. Their duties are already included in there. Our ordinance specifically says that the deputy city clerk can do many of the functions, or if not all of them, if the city clerk's not available. So we will fine-tooth comb it and find anything that has to be updated. But again, there's a lot of great structure already in those code of ordinances that put us on a good path of success.
I do have one technical question. Historically, the things that go on the ballot are called advisory, and we make it very clear to let people know that it is advisory per the state statute. Why is this binding versus what we've historically always done?
Sure. So it's in state law under the ILCS code. So any change in government structure of officers has to be approved by a referendum. Home rule authority conveys to financing and administrative functions, but changing the true nature and structure of government requires a vote of the residents. That would be the same in many things, like if we were to go to a village style of government instead of a city, which sometimes the difference between that is wards versus a vote of at large. Yeah.
Good question. Anybody else on the council? Public? Yep, come on up. State your name and...
Ron Zelms, Ward 6.
There you go.
This brought me out of my hole when I saw it on the agenda. Listen, I applaud you for addressing this. You know, when I ran for treasurer a year and a half ago, I ran on this very issue. Do we really need it? So I guess the other thing I would add to that timeline is this is not the first time. So nobody on this council was here 17 years ago. It came up in, matter of fact, August 24th, 2009 in the Finance Committee meeting where they voted to go ahead and put something on the agenda. And then it was voted on in 2010. My only question or concern is, at that time, and Grant, you probably know the answer to this, there was the letter from Dale Funk that said he could only put on one referendum at a time for a change of government. I don't know if that's changed or not. I've got it here, if you want a copy of it. It says, basically his bottom line was, unfortunately, only one question related to the city's form of government can be submitted to the public at a particular election. Therefore, if the voters decide to discontinue both the office of city clerk and treasurer, they must do it 2 separate regularly scheduled elections. So I just throw that out there. I think it's important. I think you do need to look at it. Obviously, just make sure it's right. And maybe Dale Funk was wrong then. So it's in your, let's see, August 24th, 2009 finance minutes. It's an attachment in there.
Thank you.
But yeah, good on you.
Yeah, that is an excellent
Thanks, Ron.
point. And we have done some research on the difference between one question and 2 questions. Again, as we move forward, we will look deeper and deeper. There's been recently a few communities in the state of Illinois, home rule and non-home rule, that have put more than one question, specifically one for clerk and one for treasurer. I believe the most recent one was up by Chicago just this last year. So there are 2 case studies I put in the report that talk about placing this on an agenda and the authority granted to cities and residents to make these changes. But yeah, so we'll make sure we cover that.
Okay. All right, anybody else from the public? If not, then if anybody has anything to say against this, please speak now. Let the staff know. Otherwise, they are going to move forward with looking into this. So if anybody doesn't have another comment against it, then we'll proceed.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll move
There's your
forward
answer.
and present something maybe next month at the future committee meeting with some ballot language. My memory serves me right, the council likes shall at the beginning of those questions, so we'll put that on there.
Too soon.
I missed that one, fortunately. All right, next we'll move to 3.2, administration committee reports.
Just information only. It contains the grant report. We included the HR report, give you an update of what's going on in the waste management report, as well as the utility billing performance reports.
Anybody on the council or the committee have any questions on that? Council? Public? All right. Moving on to the quarterly investment report. Any questions there from anybody? Anything you want to add, Sandy?
Nope. Info only.
Committee? Council, public? All right. And lastly is the treasurer's report, 3.4,
Oh, that should be 3.1,
I guess.
2,
We got a lot of
3,
3-1s.
4. Yeah.
We got 3 3-1s.
Yeah.
We'll go
An
3-4.
update.
Anybody have anything on the treasurer's report? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to 4, which is public comments. So if anybody has some public comments that they haven't already spoken on finance administration, please come up and share your thoughts.
I am full of good news tonight. Ron Zelms, Ward 6 again. This is something I've meant to mention a variety of times, and I just haven't. I'm generally not a fan of TIFs, but if you can get more stuff that looks like what's going on over there with the orthodontia office, what the old bank was, that's the kind of stuff that you need to put out there to the public and say, this is what TIF can do for you. And maybe even to more businesses within town and everything. But again, that's what I would hope to see from a TIF. It's really good.
Thanks, Ron.
So remember, mark this down.
Yeah, I got that down, Ron.
I'm going to a TIF thing up at IML, so I'll try to learn as much as I can. Anybody else have any comments? All right, if not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
One
sorry.
additional thing, reminder that packet pickup begins.
Yes.
And so those elected and those interested in running for elected office, starting tomorrow, may begin picking up packets. I do want to invite anybody that's interested in running or picking up a packet, and those who aren't running or just interested in the city. The department heads and I will be hosting a kind of meet and greet or O'Fallon 101 on September 14th before our committee meetings, just to update on everybody what the big projects are and the priorities, and so when people start hitting the pavement and campaigning, they have some idea of what's going on.
Thank you guys for doing that. That's something that I did not get a full-blown access to, so we appreciate that because you come in here blind. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a so move and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned. We got Public Works Committee whenever they're ready.
6:08 on that clock.
Okay.
What if I don't want to? That's your nerd class.
Make chaos. Go whichever way you feel, whatever you feel led.
I forgot about it myself. Beer number 2 when I did. I had a few people look to me. It's going to take a roll mill to it.
Do you need a hammer?
He makes like 6:08 and walks out.
They were all there. Usually we're spread out.
I feel like, yeah, we're all like, what do you do?
Looks like a lot of good public works stuff up in Arizona. I thought Jeff was gonna be one of the speakers.
Ross.
All right, it's 6:08. We'll go ahead and call the Public Works meeting to order. Roll call, Jeff, please.
Rosenberg.
Present.
Phony.
Here.
Vorse.
Here.
Carney.
Here.
Hudson.
Here.
Ford. Here. You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. First order of business will be approval of minutes. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, concerns, comments? All those in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Minutes pass. Thank you very much. Item 2.1. Jeff, I'll let you take it.
Yes, 2.1 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Elevation Coatings and Restoration LLC for the Kyle and Posh elevated tank improvements in the amount of $1,258,900 based on unit prices submitted. So this is a construction contract to do some work on the towers, the Kyle and Posh Tower. Those not familiar with them, I'll pull up a little aerial here that has a couple blue dots on them. So those are our newest towers, the one just north of Fulton Junior High and the one out on Posh. When most recent inspections were done on all of our tanks and towers, these were recommended for improvements. The exterior coating will be recoated, and then there'll be spot improvements on the interior dry and wet surfaces also. So based on that, I would recommend approval of this agreement.
All right, and before we get into any questions or concerns, can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now, does anybody on the committee have any questions or concerns?
How often do we inspect these?
Typically, every 5 years, we'll inspect all the tanks and towers, and then based off those inspections, we'll bring forward improvements. And there's a placeholder in the capital improvement plan for this work.
Have we used this company before?
So this is a newer company. However, it is the same main owner that did the last project we had done when we painted the Seven Hills Tower and the State Street Tower. Before they were Tri-Coat. Since then, he's left and created this new company, so we have confidence they'll be able to predict. Yep.
All right. Any others from the committee? Council? Public? Roll call, please.
Rosenberg.
Affirmative.
Phony.
Yes.
Vorse.
Yes.
Carney.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
All right, that will move forward to the next council meeting, which I believe is the 8th, because that Monday is Labor Day, so Tuesday, the 8th. All right.
Very well. 2.2.
2.2 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Jelly Excavating and Construction for the Alyssa Creek Court Improvement Project in the amount of $186,532.94 based on unit prices submitted. So this was a project identified in the capital improvement plan. I'll pull up an aerial of roughly where it's located. So it's in the Lincoln Farm subdivision, Alyssa Creek Courts, this cul-de-sac here. There's 4 locations where there's storm sewers that are currently discharging on private properties, causing significant erosion in some areas. This project would take the ends of those storm sewers, actually extend them down closer into the creek, and repair the erosion that's occurred since these were put in when it was first developed. I would recommend approval of this agreement.
Before we get into questions or comments, can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second?
We have a motion and a second. My first question is, the house on the cul-de-sac that's south, I guess it'd be southwest, they had some sinkhole issues back there. This is going to resolve some of that?
Yes, it would.
Because I know there's a lot of pooling coming from just up north there.
Yeah, what was occurring with that is the amount of water that was just coming down, running across the property was causing the erosion, the sinkholes to develop. So this would resolve that.
Good, okay. Any other from the council? Or from the committee? Any from the council? Questions, concerns? Public? Roll call, please.
Phony.
Yes.
Vorse.
Yes.
Carney.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Rosenberg.
Affirmative.
That will move forward also.
Also go to next city council meeting.
Yes.
2.3, please.
2.3 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Hanks Excavating and Landscaping, Inc. for the North Interceptor Sewer Replacement Scott Troy Road Crossing Project in the amount of $963,585.25 based on unit prices submitted. I'll pull up a map of this area. So this is a section of our North Interceptor sewer that conveys the sewage from town out to the wastewater treatment plant out on Reeder Road. This would be a phase that would tie in locations where we had done replacements both upstream and downstream in the past. In addition, it would bore in a new line under Scott Troy Road within a steel casing, redirect all the sewage into this new line, and then abandon the old line that's currently there. Again, this is identified as improvements within the capital improvement plan and well within the budget that's been set aside for the project. So I'd recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion, please?
So, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns from the committee? Council? Public? Roll call, please.
Vorse.
Yes.
Carney.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Rosenberg.
Affirmative.
Phony.
Yes.
All right, that'll move forward to the next council meeting also.
2.4, please.
2.4 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Gonzalez Companies LLC for the Elizabeth Drive drainage improvements in the amount of $49,800. Pause for a minute. So earlier this year, we entered into an agreement to do a drainage study in this location. Reason being, if you look at the area I pulled up here, the area outlined in blue was a location where flooding occurs during heavy rains. So the analysis was done, study was conducted. What came out of the study was a recommendation to put in a bypass storm sewer line, which is indicated as the red line on this drawing, to take that additional storm water, remove it from the system that's shown in the lighter blue color that currently runs in the backyards, redirect in a larger line in front, and that would then alleviate the flooding that's occurring at this location. So what I have before you now is an engineering agreement for them to now take this information, develop plans and specifications so that we could ultimately bid this out for a contractor to perform the work. So I would recommend approval.
Before discussion, can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or concerns from the committee?
Is the light blue line going to stay?
Yes, the light blue line will stay. That's an existing storm sewer because it's actually taken some additional water from further upstream off of Catalpa also. But this way, the majority of the flow will, from Elizabeth will be bypassed on this new line.
And that's south of the church?
Correct, yep.
Anybody else on the committee? Council? Public? Roll call, please.
Carney.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Rosenberg.
Affirmative?
Boney.
Yes.
Vorse.
Yes.
All right, that'll move forward to the next council meeting.
Thank you, sir. 2.5.
2.5 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Horner and Schifrin, Inc. for the North Greenmount Trail project in the amount of $181,322.10. So this is a project that was identified in the bike trail master plan. It was identified as one of 5 priority trails that the city should move forward with implementing and designing. What this will do is fill that gap along Greenmount Road, or formerly known as Schwegel Road, between Highway 50 all the way up to the sports park. So if I pan out here, you can kind of get a full scope of it as this red line is shown. So we had just recently submitted and been preliminarily awarded a $500,000 grant through MAPRD to pay for up to 40% of this project. That program is put out annually, either between trails or park improvements. So that's been submitted. All that's waiting is final approval from MAPRD board, which expect to have any time now. But this agreement would then allow us to move forward with the engineering design to design the complete build out of this trail, complete the final plan specifications to then bid the construction of it later. I would recommend approval of the agreement.
Thank you. Before discussion, any motion, please?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns from the committee?
Just a question, because I know it got asked with one of the other trails. What determined the side of the road?
So right now, the current trail that comes up Greenmount Road is on the west side, and then with the sports park also being on the west side as you move forward, it only makes sense to try to fit it there. The road there, it is tight, so it's going to take some potentially narrowing of the road in some area, some adjustments with some retaining walls potentially, so we'll have to get into those details as the design moves forward, but I think keeping it on the west side is important.
With the hotel going in there and you're narrowing that road, how is that going to?
It will not be narrowed near Highway 50, so we'll still maintain the 3 lanes. So when you're heading, south down Greenmount approaching 50, there still will be a southbound left turn lane, a through lane to continue, and the 3rd lane for anyone going northbound. So I think the intent would be as we go further up north, where it's a little tighter, there's some parking lots right up to the road, that's where we potentially look at narrowing it some, but obviously, still maintaining two-way traffic. There's not a striped or an area there for like a bidirectional turn lane, nor do I think it's really needed, but I think we definitely need to maintain the wider 3 lanes as you're approaching Highway 50, and that'll be done.
Anybody else on the committee? Council? Public? Roll call, please.
Hudson.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Rosenberg.
Affirmative.
Foney.
Yes.
Vorse.
Yes.
Carney.
Yes.
All right, that'll move forward to the next council meeting also.
And 2.6.
2.6 is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of O'Fallon, Chapter 77, Traffic Schedules, Schedule 1, Speed Restrictions. So this ordinance is specifically for making a speed limit change on the frontage road. So within the last month or so here, we have officially taken over jurisdictional responsibility of the frontage road between Old Collinsville Road and Veneta. With that, that gives us the ability to set speed limits, in addition to do the maintenance on it. Conducted a speed study out there just to see what your typical rate of speed is on it, and not surprisingly, it was much higher than the current posted speed limit of 30 that the state put in place a few years ago. Spoke with the police chief regarding it. What we're recommending is moving it to a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. If you remember, in years past, it was 45. I think that is probably a little higher than it should be. So what we're recommending is moving this to a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. And that would be from Old Collinsville Road to this area just past the residential properties. Again, that section would be 40. The east of there would remain the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit adjacent to the residential properties.
Before we get into questions or concerns, can I get a motion?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody on the council want to have a question or concern?
I really want to ask, the fence that runs along that, does state still take care of that?
They do. So as part of that jurisdictional transfer, it was specifically stated that the state would still maintain that fence.
And have we received the money from the state, or is that?
I think we are still awaiting that, yes.
Anybody else?
So my question was, you kind of answered it, the 40 versus 45 that it originally was. So was there any issues at 45 to not take it all the way up? Or is it just, like, what is that decision really based on?
So when we did a speed study, and what that does is you go out there with a radar detector and determine what speed everyone's traveling at, and then you kind of, from there you determine what would be the enforcement rate percentage-wise, and there's different rules of thumb you look at, but based off what we were finding, felt that 40 would keep it at a safe speed, at the same time not make it to where everyone driving down the road was over the speed limit, if you will. Again, there are businesses along there with large trucks that pull out into traffic. Just felt 45 was probably a little too much. Yeah.
Maybe the chief can answer, did we have a bunch of issues at 45?
No, not really. We didn't have many issues at all on that road. But we talked about it, and we felt like 40 was reasonable.
When you did the study, what was the average speed?
Oh, I'd have to look back through it. It was somewhere right between the 40 and 45. But yeah, I'd have to, don't quote me on that 100%, but I'd have to pull it up and see it again, but I can let you know.
I wouldn't be opposed to going back to 45 myself, but.
Yeah.
45 does feel pretty good.
Well.
Anybody else on the committee? Council?
No, the visibility on that road is pretty solid, so I think 45 would be warranted. Just, there's not really many blind spots in that part. It's clear as day, so 45.
Anybody else from the council?
I'm happy to take what we can get. I'll talk about it.
Call it the O'Fallon Turnpike?
Yes.
Anybody from the public?
Let's see how time tells.
Vern Ware, Ward 3. Let's face the facts, people. It's 35, it's 30 now, people doing 35, it's an automatic. So you're gonna move it to 40, and what are they gonna drive? They're gonna drive 45. Now, if you put it to 45, you know they're gonna push it to 50, and quite honestly, I believe that's too far to go. You're giving them 5 anyway, and what's the old line? 9, you're fine, 10, you're mine. So anyway, what I'm saying is you, huh?
I've actually never heard that.
I understand, but that's always what I've heard, okay? 9, you're fine, 10, you're mine. But here, we're looking at 40 is fine, but you know they're gonna be driving 45. Come on, let's face the facts. So you're fine at 40, 45 is what you're gonna get, but pushing it to 50, pushing it to 45, you're pushing 50, and there will be people will push 50. So 40 is an excellent number. Once you got me that I agree with you, 40, but they're still gonna do 45.
Appreciate your comments. I'll just add, it used to be 45, and the chief said there weren't any problems. Anybody else from the public? Nobody else? Roll call, please.
Ford.
Yes.
Rosenberg. Boney.
Yes.
Vorse.
Yes.
Carney.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Pretty sure, yeah. So that'll move forward for first reading on the 8th to City Council. With it being ordinance, it will take 2 readings.
So question with the 2 readings, how quickly after would that go into effect then?
I believe within the ordinance it states, I want to say it's 2 weeks, but let me see if I think it lists it in the actual ordinance. Let me pull it up real quick.
10 days.
10 days.
Okay.
Yep, 10 days.
Did Fairview take everything west of there?
They have not, to my knowledge, at this time.
All right. Anything else that you want to add or subtract?
I do not.
All right. Time for public comments. Anybody?
Vern Ware, Ward 3. I would just want to know, Jeff, how long we're going to continue with these 34-day water bills. This month, last month. Generally, my bill's like $35, but now it's up to 50, so you get an extra $15 out of me. So I know other people that's in that same range is paying 15. If you're in the 2,000 range, you're paying $30 additional. So what's the deal? And in regards to that, is this new system going to be set up on a 30-day bills basis?
I'll answer what I can to this, but I'm going to have to refer to Sandy, 'cause she does do all the utility billing side. But I know the times that it's read can fluctuate. So one month it may be 34, another it may be less than that. But ultimately, there's still only 365 days in a year, so that's all you're being billed for in a whole year's time.
I understand, but generally, sometimes I got a bill for 28 days, sometimes I got a bill for 30. I don't mind that. It's when you go up to 34, you push me in another bracket and you get an extra $15 out of me. And other people also that are in that 1,000-gallon range rate. And my question is, when you set up the new rates, I use 1,005 gallons, you charge me 2,000, so I don't get the other 995 gallons for a credit. Poof, that's gone. So why is that? In the new system, how's it going to be regulated?
We try to maintain consistency on the read times and dates, the 30-day window, but it can fluctuate depending on the month, whether or not the reads happen on we're not going to go out and read on a weekend. But again, with the new system we're putting in, we can get reads automatically at any time. So I would think that would be able to clean up the duration that each bill is. In regards to your comment on paying more, you're not charged that 1,000 gallons till you use the 1,000 gallons.
So it's a rolling number that continues month by month.
But if I use over 1,000 gallons, you charge me for 2.
And
But
that is
then
not the case.
the remainder of that 1,000, let's say you're at 1,010, right?
Yeah.
That 990, you're not billed till you hit the next 1,000. So
I'm billed
your
when
next
I bill when I go over the 1,000. I'm going to the next 1,000.
If you roll over it,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get billed for another 1,000 gallons.
you're still only billed for the amount of water that you're using, whether it's that 10 is on this bill or I'm not a math expert, but I get the process. I just don't know how to explain it any better to you. You're still only being billed for that amount of
Well,
water that you're using.
It's potatoes, whatever. Happy days.
The good news is with the new system and the cell readers, we are looking and we're confident that it can be a prorated amount that can be consistent each month.
Right.
So again, we're about 170 days out from going live with BSNA. They're working on the water meters every week, so it's moving forward.
Copy that. Any other public comments? Not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're done.